Hi everybody! In the mid-90s, I came across a Better Homes and Gardens cookbook and I read a Greek recipe called pastichou that served as inspiration for the mac and cheese casserole I created back then. I replaced the cinnamon, clove, and nutmeg with some Brazilian and American magic. You are in for a treat, my friends, starting right now. I make my meat sauce first and start by chopping half of a yellow onion and half of a large green bell pepper, which sums up to 3/4 of a cup each after being chopped. In my videos, I always try to explain to you how to make my recipes step by step. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, like the video if you enjoy it, leave me a comment below if you want to try this recipe, or if you tried it and want to let me know how you like it or if there's anything you want to change. I heat up my 11-inch saute pan and brown 1 1/3 pounds of ground beef. I prefer to use ground round, but you may use any ground meat that you like. I grate 3 large garlic cloves and fry them with the meat. Fresh garlic is king in this sauce. I add the chopped yellow onion and the green bell pepper to the mix. I stir them well and let them saute for about 1 minute on low-medium heat. Now it's time to add the dry ingredients. 2 tablespoons of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 to 2 tablespoons of my favorite seasoning blend, which is this one. And if you wish to purchase, I put a link in the description of this video. I add 1 tablespoon of paprika, freshly ground black pepper to taste, stir it up a little bit, and add 1 teaspoon of dried oregano. I like to use a Brazilian oregano that I buy online. The brand is Nativa. At this point, we have a lot of great brown bits at the bottom of the pan, and I deglaze it with a 1/2 cup of water. Then I open up a space in the middle of my pan, and I add 2 teaspoons of tomato paste, which I fry with the help of a little bit of water. And this is pretty much what I do every time I use tomato paste in a sauce. After it's all fried a little bit, I open up another spot, I add a little water, and add 2 large beef bouillon cubes, which I fry as well. And I add as much water as necessary in order to dissolve them. If you don't have beef bouillon cubes at home, but you have beef base, feel free to use it. Beef base and beef bouillon cubes are great ingredients for a meat sauce. They truly set this sauce apart from the rest. And in goes 1/4 of a cup of ketchup, which is another flavorful ingredient. Its acidic, sweet, and creamy properties contribute greatly to the final flavor of this dish. I blend a 14.5-ounce can of stewed tomatoes. I believe it's the tastiest canned tomatoes out there for this recipe, but you may use fresh tomatoes, your favorite canned tomatoes, or canned tomato sauce. And I also added 1 cup of water. This is a variation of my spaghetti meat sauce recipe, and they are both delicious. And to finalize, I add 2 teaspoons of white granulated sugar. I stir it well to dissolve it and let it simmer on low heat until ready to use it. Now I'm going to make the Parmesan white sauce. I heat up my 2-quart saucepan on low-medium heat and make a roux. I melt 4 tablespoons of butter, salted or unsalted, add 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and cook it for about a couple of minutes on low-medium heat, stirring well with a wire whisk. It's important to cook the flour so the sauce won't taste like it. I add 2.5 cups of whole milk and whisk vigorously to keep it from forming lumps. And I just add the milk normally. I don't add it too slow or too fast. And before the milk gets too warm, I add 2 egg yolks to add more thickness, flavor, and a little color to the sauce. You may use only 1 yolk if you wish, or just skip it altogether. Once the sauce starts thickening, I taste it and I add freshly ground black pepper and just a little bit of salt. I stir it well, and now I'm going to add the last ingredient, which is 1 tablespoon of grated Parmesan cheese. I love the flavor of Parmesan cheese in this sauce. Taste your sauce for salt, and if it's not too salty, you may add another tablespoon of Parmesan cheese. The sauce is done, so I cover it and remove it from the heat. Now I am going to make the third and last component of this casserole, the deluxe mac and cheese. I'm going to prepare mine according to the instructions on the back of the box. I start by placing a medium saucepan on high heat. I add 2 quarts of filtered water. I cover the pan. I wait for the water to come to a boil and add the macaroni. If you prefer to make the other kind, the one that you have to add milk and butter to it, it's fine too. I've been checking on the meat sauce and stirring it occasionally. I let it simmer with a splatter guard because I wanted to reduce it a bit, but you don't have to. In order to keep it saucy, just cover it with a lid and even add a little water to it if you feel it's necessary. This is the first time I reduced it, but I confess I like it better when it's saucy. If you prefer it saucy, make sure you select a larger casserole dish to accommodate it all. Now back to the mac and cheese. Since it's still going to the oven, I did not cook it for 11 to 12 minutes like the box instructions suggest. I only cooked it for about 9 minutes. I drained the water, returned the macaroni to the pan, added the cheese sauce, gave it a good stir, and our mac and cheese is done. Now that all 3 components of my fantastic casserole are ready, I'm going to assemble it by spreading 1 tablespoon of room temperature butter all over the bottom and sides of my 2.5 quart oval Pyrex casserole dish. The interior measures roughly 10 inches long by 7.5 inches wide by 3 inches deep. I reduced my sauce a lot. If I hadn't reduced it, I would have used a larger casserole dish. The links to a lot of the products I used in this video are in the description below. If your mac and cheese gets cold and clumpy by the time you're ready to assemble this casserole, add a little bit of milk to it and reheat it in order for it to spread nicely and create a solid base for the sauces. Finding value in this video? Share with everyone you know. After evenly spreading the meat sauce over the mac and cheese, it's time to pour the silky, tasty white sauce. And just like with the mac and cheese, I reheat it with a little milk so it will spread better. Right before I got ready to assemble this casserole, I preheated the oven to 350 degrees. Now, all that's left to do is level out the white sauce, sprinkle it with a little ground black pepper, and grated Parmesan cheese. This casserole looks beautiful and delicious even before going into the oven, and I baked it for 40 minutes. This is a true culinary masterpiece, my friends. I have been making it for many years and it never disappoints. It has a wow factor not only in appearance, but also in flavor. It is truly made to impress. And as always, the recipe is in the description of the video. Bon appetit! This casserole is so delicious and it's even better the next day. If there is any left, try it, guys. You're gonna love it too, I promise. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.